Hello indie game fans, the beginning part of February is a little bit empty due to the Steam Next Festival, so watch out for coverage of the best demos to try, but we still have weird and awesome upcoming games such as Fight Crab 2, the sequel to a quote-unquote fighting game that sees giant crustaceans battling it out. If anyone remembers this meme from E3 2006,
NG2 is an action game which is based on Japanese history. Being based on history, the stages of the game will also be based on famous battles which actually took place in ancient Japan. So here's this giant enemy crab.
It looks like the developer did as well and decided to make this weird title. It has simulation aspects like training your crab with T-Rex skull claws in order to get stronger, as well as ridiculous weapons like a sword and shield or a flamethrower, with there even being a human character that can ride on the crab as a mount, being the right kind of ridiculous, and I absolutely love it. I covered this Chinese action RPG in my video previewing the upcoming games like Diablo, where Tales of Spark has an Eastern mythology or Chinese cultivation theme and looks fun. As always, the main issue with Chinese games will be the quality of localization in whatever language you prefer, so that's something to watch, in which it looks good, so hopefully it will feel great to play as well. A good boomer shooter that will also make it out of early access is Wrath, Aeon of Ruin, where the nice thing is that you kind of know what to expect in terms of the game feel on how it controls based on the levels that are already out, with the 1.0 release completing the story, and will have a 3-episode structure with 3 main bosses, as well as weapon variety, artifacts, sigils, and more. I just talked about upcoming first-person shooters, with this being one of the games that nailed the look and feel of a throwback title, so if you're a fan, be sure to get this game. I'm expecting this next title to blow up in popularity as well, since despite the core premise of being a road trip game, Pacific Drive has survival game elements, and you know how popular those games can be. It is set in an area known as the Olympic Exclusion Zone, in which there are supernatural dangers around, where your car is the only lifeline that you have, so whatever you do, you need to keep it running. Luckily, there are workshops scattered around for repairs and upgrades, where you do have to go out to scavenge for resources and then drive like hell to escape danger, with Splattercat describing this as Stalker meets Jalopy with a dose of Escape from Tarkov, and ranking it up there with The Long Dark and Firewatch being very high praise.
Federation of Super Earth, keeping managed democracy safe with the lives of our heroes, protecting freedom from tyranny with the gentle touch of an iron fist. But liberty's enemies march ever closer. Together, we must take back control of freedom.
Together for managed democracy!
Together for victory!
Together for liberty!
Together for liberty!
Together, they fight for freedom. Will you?
Releases are a little thin, so I've included some not-so-indie titles, in which HELLDIVERS 2 is the sequel to a game from 2015, replacing the top-down perspective to full third-person behind the back, in which HELLDIVERS dive bomb onto an enemy planet and blast away at enemies in order to establish a foothold.
Work together to protect your future.
The action looks great and has returning fan-favorite elements like friendly fire, where I remember that dropping a pod on your friends in the first game will kill them, with friendly fire actually being essential to the game design.
they come.
It has some Starship Troopers style humor as well, and most interestingly, comes to us from the people that made Magica 1 all the way back in 2011, where I do still remember playing that game, and where the team has grown massively since then.
Join
幻想郷は全てを失った。思い出も記憶もそこには何も残っていなかった。
I really do want to get into Touhou games, so if anyone has any suggestions on where to start, please let me know in the comments below, in which Touhou Danmaku Kagura Phantasia Lost is a rhythm bullet hell title of all things, which looks pretty intense. Regular note highway type levels are intense in their own right, and then add in bullet hell shooting, dodging, and also having to hit the notes at the sight in rhythm seems like a lot, but hey, I'm down for new experiences this year, so why not? The second not-so-indie title is Nightingale, a game with a tremendous amount of hype, being a first-person survival crafting title, but with a self-styled gas lamp fantasy world.
Will be necessary.
This means mixing Victorian English types with monsters and myths, in which you play as a realm walker who can enter portals into these new worlds. It's a good month and year for survival game fans, with the action and construction systems in particular looking awesome, and might also be a big hit. I've had my eye on this action platformer for quite a while, since Slave Zero X looks cool, having a self-described biopunk world in which your character battles against the establishment. Horrible living machines known as slaves are created to be the troops for war, but a rebel merges with a stolen slave in order to use its powers against its creators, with the character design being one of the best that I have ever seen.
What it is you are starting.
It's also, strangely, the prequel to a game named Slave Zero from 1999, which I've not heard of before this game, but if you have any nostalgia for that, it's time to take a trip back to this world. Here's another title from a technically independent studio that is already stupidly successful, since Sons of the Forest already has 155,000 Steam reviews even while in early access, estimated to have sold around 5 million copies, and itself is the sequel to The Forest from 2018, which has a stupid 445,000 Steam reviews or 15 million estimated copies. So to say that it's a success is an understatement. It's a first-person survival crafting title with cannibals and monsters as the main enemies, with the early access version so far being great, especially with friends, so let's hope they stick the landing. There are quite a number of notable 1.0 releases, with the Diablo-style action RPG Last Epoch being the title of note here. As compared to games like Wolcen Lords of Mayhem, early access has been relatively smooth with this game, with the feedback on the game generally being very positive and ranks among the best non-Blizzard Diablo likes, with a time-traveling gimmick, meaning that they can throw all sorts of monsters and enemies at you, and has a great class system as well, with the 1.0 release likely launching this into the stratosphere in terms of popularity. If you love isometric action RPGs, then you have to watch this video to find out what else is coming up.